Hi, this is David here at Highland Campervans and welcome to the handover video of this Wildax Meteor. So in this video, we're going to take you around and show you the basic controls to help you get to grips with your new Meteor for your first couple of ventures out and about. Now, what I do recommend is that you maybe bookmark the video or download it to your device so you have it as a handy reference when you're out about in the field. So I hope you find the video useful and I'll catch you at the other end. Next, we're going to have a look at the toilet access for your Wildax. So this is down the driver's side of the vehicle. You will need the habitation key to unlock the door. So once you've done that, push the buttons in to open the door. And there's your toilet cassette. So to retrieve the toilet cassette, you'll need to squeeze the little green trigger here to be able to retract the cassette out of the unit. Now, for whatever reason, if the unit is not pulling out, then do double check that the toilet flap inside is not open. If that is open, it will stop the cassette from coming out. So retract the cassette, like so. Now the cassette has wheels at the bottom, and then you have a trolley handle like so, very much like a suitcase with a trigger on the top. And then to empty the toilet, what you need to do is you need to rotate the nozzle here, undo the cap, like so, and then once you reach your dumping point, press the little green button here to release the pressure, tip and squeeze the button and drain out your cassette unit. What you need to do then is, once the cassette unit is drained out, is put some water in, flush it out, do that about 2 times, give it a good shake, flush everything out, and then you need to fill the water up to about this line just here, about 1 litre of water into the bottom, and then add in your chosen chemical through the nozzle at the top here. Now, do remember that most campsites in Scotland won't accept blue chemical anymore, so you'll need to use pink or Everson toilet flush. So once you're finished, cap on, push that back round again, wheels in first, slide it until it clicks, like so. Give the unit just a quick wiggle, make sure it has secured in place, and then once you're done, don't forget to close and lock your toilet flap, and that there is the chemical toilet. So, freshwater fill. You're going to need the keys for this, and you'll need this key specifically to open the cap. So use the key to unlock the cap like so, and then when you're ready, it's a case of turning the filler flap and retracting it like so. Take your freshwater line, pop it in here, and then fill to either you've reached the level that you want on your habitation control, or you've got water back washing from there. Once you're done, it's a case of take the cap back, pop it back on again, like so. Take your key, and don't forget to lock your cap just to keep things secure. And there we go, that's our freshwater fill. So down along the driver's side of your Meteor, you're going to find this section just here. Now this is your wastewater tap exit. This is for grey water in the vehicle, so that's water that's gone through the kitchen sink and gone through the shower or the vanity sink in the bathroom. And this is how you would drain that tank. It's a simple case of just rotating the tap to allow that water to escape from your tank system. Don't forget that you need to drain your grey water in a location that's acceptable, be it a storm drain at home or at a service point or on a campsite service point as well. And then once you're done, is close the tap back off like so, and that's then the tank ready to accept more grey water. So next we're going to look at electrical hookup on your Meteor. So your electrical hookup point is located down the driver's side of the vehicle, just past the rear wheels, underneath this wheel flap just here. So open the flap and then take your electrical cable, and it's just a case of push on until it locks into place, like so, and that there is the vehicle then hooked up. Now, please bear in mind that a top tip is that you should never travel with a live cable. So what you should do is when you arrive on site or you plug it in at home is plug the van in first and then plug the other end in at your energy source. Once you've done that, I would always recommend that you check the breaker circuit at the energy source, just make sure that is working correctly. You don't want your van to be the last line of defense when it comes to electrical surges. Unplugging the cable is just reverse the process. So you unhook from your electrical hookup point, and then you come to the van and then remove the cable from the van, like so. Just give it a pull, shut the flap till it clicks. There we go. And then that's you disconnected. What I would say is that while you're putting your cable away, now is a great time to check your cable, make sure there's no damage to the connector ends, that the cable is secure, and there are no traps, kinks, or pinches in your cable itself. If you come across anything that you have any suspicion about, is a good time then just to replace the cable itself. And that covers electrical hookup. So, near the back of the vehicle on the passenger side, you're going to see this blue tap which is labelled fresh water. This is your fresh tank water drain. So if you are winterising your vehicle, or you've been back home from a trip out and you just want to drain the water out to stop it going stagnant, it's just a simple case of turn the tap like so, and that will then drain out the water. Once you finish draining out the water, it's recommended if you are traveling to close the tap back up, or if you are leaving the van parked up for a little bit, again, in between trips or winterization, leave the tap open to allow any moisture to drain out of your tank. So your Wildax Meteor is equipped with an electric step, which is this just hiding down here. So to retract or open the step, we need to use the switch located just here. So we press the switch and that will allow the electric step to slide out, or if we want to retract the step, we press the button to retract the step itself, as it were. Now, top tip when using the step is if you have been parked at a beach or the woods, I would definitely recommend brushing this off before sliding the step back in. It just stops any dirt going inside the runners, which could affect its operation. So when you open the habitation door of your Wildax Meteor, you're greeted with this cupboard just here, which is your gas cupboard, which you can tell with the LPG logo to let you know this is a gas locker. So to access the locker, press the button here, open up the locker, and then inside your locker you have your gas bottle like so. Now remember, the gas bottle here is only for the cooking system. Your Meteor runs on a diesel heater, so this bottle is only for the cooker itself. So to turn the gas on and off, there you just turn the tap on the top of the bottle to turn the gas on or off, and that covers the gas locker. So as you enter your Wildax and look above your head, you are greeted with this habitation control panel. This is your lithium battery readout, light switches. You then have the room temperature sensor, and you have your tank heater switch. So let's cover them one in turn. So first things first is your habitation control panel. So first thing you need to do is power this on with this button just here. System will light up. And that's us now on. We can now turn the 12 volt circuit on and off. So this will be for our light controls and our USB sockets for the lights. This is all controlled on that button there. And then we can turn the individual lights on and off by using the various switches around the van to turn the lights on and off. So next button at the top here, this is our water pump. So we turn this on where we want to use the water. Now, as you can hear there just now, not uncommon that you may hear the water pump prime every now and then it starts, as it just pressurizes the system for use. Don't forget to turn the water pump off when it's not actually being used. So I'm just going to turn this light off behind me. There we go. So this next one here, this is the awning light for the outside of the van. So this is an entry light, which you can turn on and off at will. And then this one here allows you to dim and brighten the display as needed. Further down, you have your battery indicator. So press this one here. This will give you vehicle battery, leisure battery, vehicle draw, and also the solar draw as well. So at the minute we've got various items on. So we have a negative figure here that lets us know things are drawn. And then we have 12.4 volt for the vehicle and 13.7 volt for the leisure battery. We also have the water line. So this just here lets us see that we have 70% of fresh water on board. The next button here allows us to go in and make various different changes to either the colors or time and date. And then finally, back around the start again is our on and off button for the control panel itself. So moving up, these here are for the boiler. This allows the boiler system to know what temperature the van is for when you're running the heating system. You don't need to do anything with these at all. They are just there. You will notice one or two of them running around the van in different locations. This is for your tank heater. So if you are operating the van in a winter environment and it's going to be particularly cold overnight or during the day when you're using the van, you can turn on a heater for the tank system, and this will just help prevent any frost happening with the tank unit itself. Now this will work independently of the habitation panel. So if the habitation panel is switched off, this will continue to function. So you can switch the van off and leave this on. Now, as I said, this is ideal if you are out in the field and you do need to prevent a possible frost on the tanks. But if the van is parked up at home, I would recommend that you drain the tanks out rather than leave water in. So moving back around again. So this controller device just here, this is your battery readout. So this gives you information on your leisure battery. So your leisure battery is a lithium system, and this also gives you data on the solar unit as well, lets you see what the solar system's up to. So first things first, this here is your amp hours for the battery, and the battery is at 100%. And this gives you an estimated time for battery depletion. You then have your voltage for the battery, and your current voltage and wattage draw on the battery itself, as it was. So it lets you know what is going on. Now, if everything is all switched off, if I do that just now, Okay, you'll notice that figure now turns into a positive figure. This lets you know that the solar system is now charging the battery and it's providing voltage back into the battery itself. Now you can go into here on the sub menu and you can make changes to this system so it can give you alerts when battery reaches certain points. I would strongly recommend that you refer to the Renology owner's manual to get more information on that. And that there covers our habitation, our battery indicator, and our tank heater. So moving on to the sink in your Wildax Meteor. So your sink is located by the habitation door. You will need to lift the glass and move the tap round to be able to use the sink efficiently. But when you're ready, don't forget to turn the water pump on and make sure that you have fresh water on board. And it's just a simple case of open the faucet to allow the water to flow. If you have the heater on, then rotate the tap left and right to hot or cool the water as desired. And once you finish, just close the faucet like so. Now, as you can hear in the background just there, you may hear the water pump run from time to time as it repressurizes the system. That is perfectly normal behavior. And that there covers the water systems. So let's move on to your cooking station inside your Wildax Meteor. So just by the kitchen sink near the habitation door, you're going to find your hob and oven and grill. So let's look at the hob first. So the hob has 3 rings. You have 1 large one and 2 smaller ones located on the top here, and they are controlled by 1, 2, 3 knobs across the front. Now don't forget, before using your cooker, you need to make sure that you have turned the gas on and that you have sorted out the isolator tap for the gas system as well. So once that's done and you're ready to start cooking, it's a simple case of turning the button until and holding it in, press the sparker igniter, give it a second to let them warm up. So that's 1. That's 2. Give it a little bit more. And finally 3. And there we go. That's all the 3 rings running. So once you finish with the gas, you can obviously adjust the flow by turning the knob to make them slower or faster. And once you're done, rotate each knob back to the 12 o'clock position. Have a quick listen to see if you can hear the gas still coming through. Nope, silent, so we know the gas is definitely switched off. Now, when you have been cooking with the hob unit, it's advisable to make sure you let the rings cool for about 10 minutes or so before closing the glass lid down. If you bring the glass lid down while the hobs are on, or indeed while they're still too hot, you do run the danger of shattering the glass. There is a warning symbol on here to remind you not to do that, as it were. So as I said, once they're cooled down, you can close the lid. The mesh grill, or the grill pallet, whatever you'd like to call it, that is removable to allow better cleaning. Just be aware that when you lift it in and out, that sometimes these grommets could also come out as well, and they are a little fragile, so just make sure you push everything in carefully and make sure you've got it all rotated correctly as well to allow it to fit properly. And that there is our hob rings. Let's now have a look at the oven and the grill on your Thetford XXX unit. So the oven and grill are controlled by this control knob just here. So just like the hob rings, you do need to make sure that you have turned on the gas supply and you have turned on the gas isolator tap to allow the gas to flow through. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get anything to work correctly. So this one here is in relation to the oven, and the other side here is in relation to the grill. And these work very much like the hob rings. What you need to do is rotate this, hold the button in, and then use the igniter to allow the oven to fire. So that's the oven firing at the bottom there. Let me just show you with the camera so you can see the oven is lit. And then you use this to control the temperature for the oven like so. Once you're done with the oven, you just rotate this to the top and that will then turn the oven off. So to run the grill, it's the same idea again, but this time we are turning all the way to the clockwise. So rotate it round to the flame, use the igniter system, allow the grill to start firing. And again, let me just show you. There's the grill lit. And then once you finish with the grill, it's just a simple case of turning this to 12 o'clock. And that then will turn the grill and the oven systems off. Now, unlike the hob ring, you can close the gate. So what to do is push it up to a vent position like so, and then give it about 5-10 minutes, allow the oven and the grill to cool off fully, and then you can close the lid fully shut like so. And that there covers your Thetford XXX oven and grill. So let's move on to the bathroom inside your Wildax Meteor. So you have the vanity sink, which is located just here as you come into the entranceway. And the vanity sink works just like the kitchen sink. You use the faucet control here, and you would rotate the faucet control to open the water line like so. And then if you have the hot water on, you can then control the flow of the hot water by rotating the tap top. And once you're done, you shut that back off again. Again, not uncommon to hear the water pump kick on as water's pressurizing as you're using. To use the shower, you just retract the hose from the actual faucet unit here, and then you then clip the shower unit up to your left, located just here, and then run the shower as normal. And then once you finish, then you can just retract the shower back into its housing, like located here. So let's move on to your Dometic toilet. So your Dometic toilet is located in the washroom as well. The top basin does rotate around to allow more comfortable access. So to use the toilet, first things first, we do need to, of course, open the lid. Now, what we do need to do is we need to open the access flap, which is hiding just down here. So to do that, what we do is we pull the lever here, and that then opens the access flap to allow wastewater to push through. So once you're done using the toilet, you are then ready to flush. So for flushing, I'm going to leave the lid open. Normally we would flush with the lid shut just to avoid any splashback, but this lets you see the flush action in action. So the flush control is located over here, and it's the button in the middle. So we press the button, water will flow, give it a couple of seconds, and that will then push any waste through into the chemical unit. Once everything's all done, give it a sec, just allow the last of the water just to drain through, and then just close the flap like so, and that will just stop any unpleasant odours washing back into the bathroom. So on the control interface itself, let me just close the lid down. So on the control interface just here, you have a couple of warning lights to let you know what's going on. So this here is to say that the cassette is not located home. This just here is to say that the unit water is not working, and then you've got this here to let you know if the unit is getting half full or it's completely full. This is the more important side. This will let you know when you need to empty the cassette unit itself. And that there covers your toilet and wash basin in the washroom. So let's have a look at the cab blinds that are fitted to the Wildax Meteor. So the Wildax Meteor is fitted with what's called a Remus blind system. So these blinds come out, give the trigger a little squeeze, and they will slide out, and this magnet here will meet the other blind in the middle for you. And then once you finish using it, it's just a case of pushing them back and tucking them into place. I'll bring the side one across for you so you can see that in action. So that comes across and clips in like so, and that there gives you your cab blinds. As I said, you have this one here, you have one blind that comes up from the other side, and then you have the final blind, which is located on this door. When you open the kitchen cupboard in your Wildax Meteor, now, on board your Wildax Meteor, you are equipped in this vehicle with the Thetford 12-volt compressor fridge. Very simple unit to use. So the fridge runs on its own circuit, so the fridge can operate on vehicle battery, electrical hookup, or if you're off-site, it can run on the leisure battery system, and that will do it automatically by itself. You don't need to tell the fridge what you're doing. The fridge will work out what's the best energy source and make use of that for you. So to turn the fridge on, is the button just here. So we press the button down, hold it down, and the fridge will now light up. So on the control panel, we have the temperature control, and then we have a night mode button here as well. Now the fridge itself has what's called a touch lock on it. So when the fridge is on, you will notice that the panel here will turn off. So to see what the fridge is doing, touch the panel like so, and it will give you a quick display and then switch back off again for energy efficiency. To make changes, what you need to do is tap it to wake it up, and then hold your finger down, and it will flash, and now we can make our changes like so. So we just drag our finger along here to change the temperature of the fridge. Now I recommend start the fridge out at 3, see how you go from there, because the more the fridge is dialed up, the more energy it will use. See how you get there, and then you can dial the fridge up or down to suit yourself. At night time, when you want to use the So next we're going to have a look about how to make the bed in your Wildax Meteor. So first things first, I've already moved the cushions, or the scatter cushions, sorry, from the two sofas to make this process a little bit easier. So first things what you'll need to do is you'll need to lift this cushion up and then access under here your divider boards. Okay, so they slide out. So that's one. And there's another one at the back here, like so. Now these divider boards, they will go on the channel rails located just in front of the sofas themselves. These open up very simply, and they go wood side up. So you have the two divider boards just there. Now you will notice that the divider boards are slightly different from each other. There's one of which has a slightly angled edge. This is your lead board. So this board will go at the front here. So let's put the first board in play. That's our first board. Let's put our second board into play. That's the second board there. Now we're ready to put the cushions down. So this is a very straightforward process. You can do it one of two ways. You can either move the bolsters cushions here and then move them into the middle, or you can move, sorry, that's it. You move the bolster cushions into the middle, like so. Push them down. And that there is your bed, ready to be used. And then to put the bed away, it's just reverse the process. So we take our bolster cushions, tuck those back aside, 1 and 2. There we go. And then we remove our boards. That's our boards removed. And then we just stow them back away in the cushion, under the cushion, like so. Slide them into their little slots. Just watch your fingers as you drop them in. Don't want to trap your fingers. And there we go. And that's the bed back into a sofa. So let's have a look at the blinds and fly screens on your Wildax Meteor. So all the habitation windows have a blind and a fly screen. So they just slide up and down, and they do have a little magnet where they can meet in the middle if need be. Now, I do recommend that you do not travel with the blinds or the fly screens in place. Make sure they are stowed away before traveling. This just avoids undue pressure on the tension system, which can wear the blind systems out. So to open the windows, we need to use these little triggers, and it's a case of just flipping them over like so, and that will allow then the window to open. Okay, the window has its own strong stays. Now, if you look closely here, you notice there's a little lip here. So you can actually put the windows into event mode. So if you slide this into the groove, you'll be able to get a finger down there. So let's take a look at the Truma heater system that's inside your Wildax Meteor. So the Truma system is located in the lounge area, just by the fridge and then by the sofa. So that's it here on the wall. To turn the system on, we need to press the home button and wake the screen up. And there we go. That's our main menu. So we have room temperature, water heater, connected to the apps, timers, notifications, and then you have a settings menu here as well. So to turn the heater on, we're going to go into room climate. It's going to ask if we're heating or ventilating the van. So if it's on a hot day, we can ventilate the van by using the ventilating mode, and that will run the boiler just to blow cold air, but we're going to heat the van. You then have current van temperature and the temperature you can set the system at. Fan speed and energy mode. So in this case here, we're going to check the energy mode, and we can go diesel or electric, 900 or 1800 watt. Now, the system is designed to run in hybrid mode, but I strongly recommend that you run it in one mode or the other. Just avoid the system having any power source confusion. So if you're off grid, diesel. If you're on hookup, then use the electric mode. So at this moment, we're going to use the diesel mode. So we're going to return. So with the fan speed, you've got fast and comfort. So comfort mode allows the heater to blow gently and take its time. Fast mode, it just more pump the heat in as quickly as it can, but it is a little bit more noisy. So the choice is up to you there. And then we can set the temperature like so, using the control interface here. And then once we're done, we can go back to the home screen, and we'll now see a green bar to let us know that that is now engaged. So to turn that off, so if we're finished with the heating system, we go into the mode, into this screen just here, and then a little button in the corner, tap that, and that now turns that off. So for the hot water, it's basically the same as the room climate. We access the hot water system, turn it on, and then we need to pick what mode we're going to be at. So eco is ideal for doing dishes, comfort's great for washing up in the sink, and then hot is if you want to use the shower. And again, like the room heater, you need to pick your energy source like so, be it diesel or electric. When you go back to the home screen, you'll see this symbol just here to let you know that the hot water is fully activated. And again, to turn the hot water off, tap it, press the little button in the corner. That will then turn the hot water system complete. When you remove the bench cushions on the passenger side of the vehicle, you will see this access flap here. Underneath this access hatch, you are going to find your leisure battery. And Underneath the cushions on the driver's side of the vehicle, you're going to see this access panel. And under this access panel here is where your Truma boiler system is living in the van, alongside with the water pump. Now, the reason we need to gain access under here is for winterization, and it's accessing the drain switch, which is this yellow toggle. So let's take a look at the dash operations in your Wildax Meteor. So on the dashboard display just here, we have a wealth of information. We have engine temperature, we have speed, we have our rev counter, which is this little blue bar just here. If I just rev it, you'll see the little blue bar move. You have your speed recognition sign, distance alert, and then you have over here seatbelt warnings and fuel gauge over the far side. So there's a lot of information on here. Now the information can be customized by using the menu controls just located here. So these allow you to flip through the different pieces of information, make some changes to the way the screen is laid out. Best thing to do is have a little play and work out what works for you on this display system. So located on this part of the steering wheel, we have our cruise control and our speed limiter system, as well as the distance collision system, as well as volume controls and voice activation for Bluetooth. So for the cruise control, it's basically this button just here. We turn that on. That will then put a symbol on the dashboard just there. And when you're ready to set it, just press the appropriate set button to engage the cruise control system. Turn the cruise control off. We just press the button there again. Turn the limiter, press the limiter button, and then we set the limiter to whatever speed we want the limiter to stop us from going over. Remember, the limiter is an electronic system. It won't physically apply the brakes, so you can potentially coast over the speed that the vehicle has set for you. Well, for the radio, we have volume up and down controls, and as I said, this button just here allows us to make changes to the lane keeping assistance, so we can turn the system off or on. This allows the vehicle to alert you if you're getting too close to the edge of the road. Best thing to do there is try that out and see what you prefer to use. Further down to the side, you have your lighting controls just here, rotate on this dial, so you actually have off, side lights, automatic lights, and then dip lights. Your beam control is located on the side stalk here, alongside with your indicators as well. Alongside this here, you would have dashboard brightness and dimness, and then the button in the middle, give that a push. This allows you to adjust the light level, so as the headlights, the height that the headlights are flashing at, and then push that back into lock in place. And then finally, front and rear fog lights. To the side of there is your mirror controls. Just slide that to the mirror you want to adjust, and then physically move the mirror like so to how you want it to be. Don't forget to lock that back to the side like so. And then on the door, you've got your front window switches. Wiper controls are located on the right hand side stalk. The little bit in the middle here allows you to adjust the pulse frequency to be a fast or slow pulse. Wash wiper is towards you. Over on the center, you have the main touchscreen display. I'm again not going to go into too much depth about this. There's too much to cover in this video, but a brief overview. You have your radio system located over here. This lets you turn the radio on and change your registrations, and then you have a volume control just here and a button to turn the radio system back off again. You have down here, you have your demister button. You then obviously have your park mode button just here as well. So this is for your park assistance, on or off. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on. And then this button just here allows you just to turn the display to basically a simple display, as it were. And then finally the button on the side here, if I turn that on, there we go. I pressed the button too many times. There we go. This allows you to go in and change the drive modes of the vehicle. So you can have an eco, a slippery traction mode if you're towing or hauling heavy loads. Most of the time you're going to be using normal mode. Best thing to do with this is just give it a try, see how you get on. Just down here you have your air conditioning controls. So you basically have your fan speeds just located here, AC on and off, where you want the air to flow from. You can pick where you want it to flow. And then you have your temperature setting located here, so you can change the temperature like so. Again, as I would recommend, the more you play with the system, the easier it will become to use. So located a little bit further down is you have your gearbox controller, which is on this rotary dial. You have park, reverse, neutral, and then drive, with a manual control mode in the center, which I'll cover in just a moment. To engage the gearbox, you need to have your foot on the brake. If you try to turn this with no foot on the brake, this actually will not rotate. So in a minute, it will not physically rotate because I haven't got my foot on the brake. When the foot is on the brake, I can then select what I want to do. Reverse, we'll put on a reversing camera for you. And then you have neutral mode, and then you have your drive mode. Now, when you're in drive mode, okay, the gearbox will automatically select the appropriate gear. When you're in manual mode, like so, you can then take control of the gearbox by using these little paddles located either side of the steering wheel. So up a gear, going down a gear. So it's basically very much like what a racing driver has. And you'll see a gearbox indicator here on the dash to let you know what you're doing. To turn the manual mode off, just press the M button again. That light will go out, and that is the vehicle now back in drive mode. So last thing to cover is your handbrake. Now the handbrake is located. So that was the Handover video for the Wildax Meteor. I hope you guys find it useful and gets you all settled ready for your first few trips out and about. As I said at the very start, maybe not a bad idea to maybe download or bookmark the video for future reference. But as I said, myself and the team here at Highland Camper Vans are always on help to give you a hand if you're a little bit stuck out and about. All that left for me to say is I wish you many happy miles motoring, and from all of us here at Highland Camper Vans, we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.